I want to get you talking right away about this story we're following, the Nancy Guthrie case. So FBI increasing the reward for info leading to an arrest or for her to be found. And we're hearing about this backpack, a new description on the suspect. Looking at the fact that it's day 12, I mean, what are your thoughts, first of all, on these new developments? They might have had this info, but they're releasing more now. I know sometimes law enforcement keeps details close to the vest. So kind of break down where you think we are now.
I mean, it was a big lead getting the video surveillance, right, from the camera. And I'm not surprised that they're really rolling with all the information now. Uh,
Yeah.
they've identified the backpack. They're eventually going to identify the clothing. They're going to identify the sneakers. So right now they're checking out any local stores that might have carried that equipment. They're checking surveillance for anyone that made purchases similar to that item. They're going to track it down back to like credit card purchases and hopefully identify a suspect. They can also do this via online to see if anybody purchased that equipment that they had identified. So it's close. It's amazing how much technology we can utilize, and with the tips that we're getting from
Right.
the community, it's invaluable.
Mike, I got to ask you. So, the FBI saying that the details confirmed after a forensic analysis of the doorbell camera footage. So, we've heard a lot of discussion about the footage. I mean, we all know footage it can be crucial when solving a case, whether it's a disappearance or other crimes. What do you make, though, of them being able to access the footage? And then, from what I understand, it took a little time to really get in there. But now they're saying, look, we have new details based on a deep analysis of the footage. Can you break that down for us for people that are not adversed in this?
So the potential is that they might have more footage, right?
Mm.
Perhaps. I also heard that they might have footage inside the house.
Oh,
Just to explain to the people, the delay is they have to draw a search warrant to get that information. I'm sure whoever the company is that provided the video, they want to protect themselves too, right, before releasing the information. But I'm not saying that's the major delay, because I processed search warrants and it took like an hour and bang, I'm executing it. So I'm glad they got it. So I'm sure there's more video that we're not privy to yet. Maybe they're not releasing it because maybe they're close to an apprehension, hopefully. And if not, I'm sure they're going to make it available so that somebody in the community, somebody in the world can identify the suspect.
you know, taking you back to your time with the NYPD, when you're working cases where there's high public interest, how crucial is sort of that assessment, that dance, that back and forth that law enforcement must consider when it comes to releasing details that will help and maybe releasing too much? And is it extra crucial in a high profile case?
Yes. We don't want to tip off the bad guy. If we had information early, like just say we're working a case and we got video evidence and we have images of the suspect and we're close and we've identified him, we're not going to release that to public because we don't want to give this guy a heads up. In this case, that's not what happened. It's been several days. They finally got the video, so they're quick to release that video because we want hundreds and thousands of eyes out there to help identify the suspect. So sometimes the information is sensitive, especially if it's high profile. And for the most part, most law enforcement, again, keep their cards close to their vest
Right.
because we don't want to give valuable information that might help the suspect get away.
Let's look at that backpack and kind of analyze this. So what I'm extrapolating as I'm looking at these images that were put out on social media, they're giving a look alike of the backpack, the exact backpack, and I'm saying that because there's a tag on it, like if you were to purchase it. So why are they adding that visual component other than the obvious is, this is what it looks like, but why that type of detail, would you say, at this stage in the investigation, along with, details on a suspect description and details on even down to the FBI collective and the number of tips since February 1st? Why are they putting out these details, do you think, at this stage?
Even details that are so minute,
Right?
visual. People are very visual. If they see something, it might trigger some kind of a memory. It could be somebody working somewhere. It could be a cashier that made the sale.
Yeah.
So they have to put how the backpack looks like in the store before you buy it. Or
You
when
see
you're gonna
that
buy it.
sometimes with like vehicle investigations, a stolen car or something taken. They'll give it like the vehicle looks like this, right? It's a similar thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Again, it's anything that could trigger somebody's recall
Right.
of an event.
And FBI has collected over 13,000 tips. Is that typical at this stage, day 12 in an investigation?
I think that's because of the media coverage.
Mm.
I think in this day of Instagram and TikTok, right? Everyone, the whole world knows about this case. So I'm surprised it's only 13,000. So I thought it was going to be a lot more. So these tips are invaluable. It's going to take a task force of agents to vet them and get what's probative that they can work with. They definitely welcome all the tips, and they're going to sort it out and figure out what's good for the case that will help develop a lead and what won't.
So, as you know, because I know you've been following this case, somebody interested, obviously, in law enforcement, given your background and all that you do, TMZ has been front and center because TMZ has been getting tips, and we reported today, and we've been hearing from TMZ producers on Fox 5 because they have been getting communication, right? So we heard today that a new piece of communication from a person who claims to know the identity of the abductor. On Wednesday, so yesterday, TMZ said it received a demand letter for Bitcoin in return for that information. And then this morning, a second email sent where the person said they were not being taken seriously and making statements. The statement ends saying it is the person's final attempt to help. What do you make of this?
I've been talking about that when
Yeah.
we were getting the tips, and I remember saying that why did they go to TMZ? And the possibility is that if this is a legit person trying to help, maybe he's been trying to give information, and because of the volume of tips that that the investigators have been getting, they didn't get to it. Conversely, this guy could just be a scammer, right? This person might not have legitimate information. He's probably thinking, if he's just scamming, right? If
Yeah.
it's just a total hoax, he's probably thinking, now we got this image and we see all these information flowing, that we're close to making an apprehension. And he's probably thinking, for his own selfish reasons, I want to collect before they identify.
He wants the
this
Bitcoin.
Yeah. If he actually knows
Something.
the guy, right? I don't think he cares about this case. He doesn't care about catching or recovering Nancy. He just wants his money.
So a couple things here, Mike. First of all, yes, you always, in these types of cases, I'm sure, and you have hands-on experience, it's like, A, is it a hoax or not? Do they really have the information they're saying? And B, what are their motivators? Nevertheless, if it's going to help law enforcement catch the person or save a person, they're going to go for it, but they got to vet it, right?
Absolutely. I almost feel like they're going to treat this like two separate investigations, right? They're doing right now with the evidence, and then they're going to deal with this Bitcoin ransom thing or reward thing. So I think that's the way they're processing it.
Here in Newsroom Live, we like to bring our viewers and listeners kind of behind the scenes. And, expert voices like yourself, they're so crucial, especially when we as journalists are following high profile cases or big stories. Give us just a little blurb, share with those watching and listening tonight your experience in law enforcement and as it ties to a case like this.
When you have a veteran investigator, it's invaluable, right? When I was a rookie detective, I learned so much from like the senior detectives, right? Because what we do is bounce theories off each other. You've had my colleague here, Ralph. He was my lieutenant. I would bounce theories off him.
Mm-hmm.
We'd exchange ideas, right? Whatever sticks to the wall, that's what we work with, right? And that's how investigations work. Same thing that we're doing right now with the public, right? We're asking for your information. It's like having 100,000 detectives thinking up of theories. So the public is definitely a valuable asset in this case. And I'm confident that the information we get from Crime Stopper tips, from witnesses will help solve this case.
You know, the other thing I was going to say is I'm sure it's like I kind of parallel it to being a journalist for so many years. There's some things, you know, you say, you know, I've seen this kind of thing before. I know it could be similar with law enforcement. I guess when you were actually on the ground and investigating, Bitcoin is not something that you heard demands for. That's new. But what do you see consistent in this high profile case, kind of themes you've seen before?
Themes as far as processing the scene or MOs?
With what's transpired here, this older woman taken from her home, it's a kidnapping. I mean, of course the family wants her home safe. What are some elements of this investigation that you've kind of seen before, just kind of off the top of your head?
Yeah, it seems predatory. I'm still working with two theories that this might have been targeted or this could have been a burglary gone bad, right? But it's not unusual for bad guys to target easy, soft targets. This guy's a
Mm,
coward. He knew this woman. If he had knowledge of this one, which it looks like he did, because the way he's covering his face in the video, he knew this was an easy mark.
right.
And that's the oldest criminal story in the world,
Well, they
right?
go for low hanging fruit, so to speak, right?
100% low hanging fruit. Hopefully they can get away. I think he didn't anticipate perhaps maybe Nancy fought back and he didn't know what to do then. And,
Mm.
you know, he had to make actions that made it more
So
complicated.
that's
So
one theory you have. The other theory you're thinking is a burglary gone bad, you said?
it could have been a bird gone bad. This guy could have been a prowler checking out that affluent community,
Mm.
right? And maybe he thought nobody was home and Nancy surprised him.
And
That
then
could
they
have
got to
been the
kind of
case
act,
too.
respond to what's going on, type of thing.
Yes.
You know, it's such a horrific thing. A lot of people connecting with this, notably, as you said, I mean, her daughter is very well known, Savannah Guthrie, Today Show host. So again, factoring into theory one that you pointed to, it's probable or possible that, you know, he knew, the individual, the suspect knew who this elderly woman was. When you see people connected to people in notable positions targeted, I mean, they gotta know, the bad guys I'm talking about, that, you know, this is going to be an intense search with all the means behind it. And because of that public connection, it's going to be magnified in the media. I mean, what's your take? I mean, this is kind of high risk for somebody willing to commit the crime.
Yeah, I don't think he planned on that. I didn't think the bad guy, I'm sure, is watching this like everyone else, and he didn't realize how big this case was, that how much would be involved. I'm sure he didn't anticipate that the president would be commenting on it. So if
Mm.
I was the bad guy and they have my video right now, I'd be very nervous. I wouldn't even be surprised if he already took off. He's gone. He might have left Nancy somewhere, and now it's up to us to find Nancy. So that's another scenario.
I know I got to ask you this question before I let you go. And it's more of, you know, extrapolating on your experience, but it's got to be tough when you're an investigator on this kind of thing and you got to do the face to face with the family. I mean, people just in desperation. What is something like that like? I mean, I'm sure there's a point person either from FBI or from law enforcement updating the family. I'm sure it's coming, you know, with streams of information. I'm sure before public information is released, at least one point of contact in the family has to know first. How does that work, communicating with loved ones?
I think we just have to be professional about it. We've been trained on how to deal with emotional contact with family members, but we have to stay through to the course. We have to be professional and not get emotionally invested. We
Mm,
want to work the case to the best of our ability
hmm.
and hopefully get the best results.
Thank you so much, Michael Alcazar. We always appreciate you, your insight, your thoroughness. Thanks for being with us tonight on Newsroom Live.
Thanks, Steph.